Intonations.
This meeting is being recorded.
Nuclear power and its advantages. All the waste in a year from a nuclear power plant can be stored under a desk. Ronald Reagan. Today I'm going to talk to you about the idea of increasing our energy independence with nuclear energy power plants and how it would be beneficial for everybody. Currently, the UK runs its own power plants that's to great effect. Many of their power plants produce 37,000 gigawatts per hour, with 7% of which being carbon-free electricity. This would help not only our promotion of a clean and eco-friendly power, but the world. But to put things into perspective, I just want you all to close your eyes for just a moment and imagine your first home. After all the paperwork and the saving, you finally got it. You go out to, say, a family outing for the weekend, and you'd forgotten the lights, or you'd forgotten some other appliance. This results in your next month's bill being incredibly expensive, causing you to have to work just a little bit harder to catch up. And slowly, as international energy prices rise, small mistakes can often lead to big consequences. Your hobbies and activities have to fall by the wayside as you work harder and harder to maintain your former lifestyle and new home. This can cause more stress on both you and your partner. And you can keep up with this in fighting over finances and slip into debt over rising energy costs in your own home. Eventually, missed payments stack up and your power's cut off until you're able to pay your outstanding debt. With nuclear energy, we could avoid such issues with cheaper power. Today, I'm going to discuss first the positives of nuclear energy and its effects. Next, I'll speak about the risks of nuclear power and how old incidents are and how they could be avoided. Finally, I'll tell you the environmental impact of switching to nuclear energy and what it could do. So, what exactly is the upside to nuclear energy? Nuclear energy is a long-lasting, cleaner energy source than both coal, oil, and natural gas, and it causes almost no risk to the normal citizen. Currently, 80% of all of our energy is fossil fuel provided. Nuclear energy is a long-lasting and cleaner source in all of this. Renewable energy can only produce up to 12%. Fossil fuels increase our CO2 productions exponentially. This is an unsustainable consumption of resources. The ability for new power plants to produce somewhere in the range of 1 gigawatt of power per plant on average is an enormous amount of energy. And this power, generated with comparatively small emissions, is a huge amount of help for nuclear power. The job advantages are also massive, such as in its current state, even as small as it is in the United States, it produces up to $60 billion in the US for gross domestic product. Furthermore, each plant can employ up to 700 or more workers that both operate, maintain, and improve even the power plant. This could also help us with our foreign policy as we move forward. We can develop and share our discoveries with our allies on the world stage, and it could be a help to everyone. While some decry these instances and post old comments from the Cold War era, speaking of Chernobyl or Fukushima, increased safety measures make it unlikely that would ever happen again. In the deaths per terawatt power of energy, nuclear power is by far the best, beating out both fossil fuels and natural gas by an extreme margin. To quote the data statistics, nuclear energy, for example, as a result, is 99.8% fewer deaths than brown coal. The following numbers, 99.7, are fewer than coal, and then the rest are for both oil and natural gas. Some say Congress has yet to find an acceptable place to dispose of nuclear waste. But till this problem rears its head, we can always look to how other countries have disposed of it. And we can even find storage facilities for this place where the half-lives of the radiation can be eliminated. Concerned with prospects of Chernobyl or Fukushima, few people know that only 50 people died during the Chernobyl disaster. Many people still claim that it's scary, that radiation could poison our homes, our families, our ecosystem. And that is a real reason to fear. But it's been massively over-dramatized over the years. In the 30 years since the incident, only 50 have died, as I previously mentioned, but even less were killed during the Fukushima disaster. The mass evacuations, most of which go on the government's authority, are had by people who have little knowledge of the problems that nuclear energy can have. And often it begins a massive panic, the traumatization of which would never really fade. Ecologically, moving on, the impact of nuclear energy and how it would affect the average citizen. A direct result of the transition to nuclear energy would have us lowering our carbon footprint and a massive increase to our air quality. Most people were unaware that the emissions are up to 90% less than coal, and the low life cycle emission process is comparable to that of solar or even geothermal energy. The reduction of our carbon footprint would see our air improve, and this would lead to, say, the bees or other insects coming back and helping with pollination. This comeback would be amazing as opposed to the steady decline that's been happening across the country. Other increases would be our air quality. In the ozone, massive amounts of gas and other things have caused holes in our ozone layer. In time, they may be able to make a comeback and repair itself if we stay with this option. The reduction of these greenhouse gases may even cause a global cooling effect and would help restore our polar ice caps. From there, that would assist in the reduction of waves and other such massive tidal instances that happen, and the sea levels begin to decrease a little bit. This would help our coastal countries and, to a smaller extent, coastal cities. To conclude, I've informed you of the positives of nuclear power and the safety measures and ecological impacts of nuclear power. It's a misunderstood and little used and highly effective resource that's been hampered by public misconception and misinformation. Nuclear power would help provide the electricity that our growing economy needs without increasing emissions. This is a truly environmentally responsible resource and source of energy. Michael C. Burgess. Here are my sources. Thank you. Do you have any questions? Okay, we can stop the recording.